The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, I'm Mary Silla Kelleton. Join Terry for more sports news later in the bulletin.
In this edition, normalcy returns to West New Britain. Prime Minister orders probe into PNG port's allegations, and Orchids reject show classing JT9s.
Earthworks for the new roads and drainages has commenced in the new Yanguru Mobile Barracks, according to Yanguru South CM member Richard Maru. Maru said this is a very important aspect of the work that needs to be completed in the next 3 months, and despite continuous rain slowing progress of the work, it continues.
Progress is being made on the new Yanguru Mobile Barracks in Isipik Province. Yanguru South Sea Member for Parliament and Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, said he is hopeful that the Yanguru South Sea Police Mobile Barracks will be up and running this year, as major roads and drainage work around the premises commenced last week. He said the DDA office is going out on tender now to have the fence erected and the office and other amenities put up. Minister Maru thanked the Mara Peroso government for all the support towards this project. Maru added that the completion of this mobile barracks is a major priority of the Mara Peroso government, which will serve not only the Yanguru South Sea district but all of East and West Sepik provinces to reduce crime, which is one of the biggest development challenges faced apart from unreliable and continuous power blackouts. Maru added that the completion of this mobile barracks is a major priority of the Mara Peroso government, which will serve not just the Yanguru South Sea district, but all of East and West Sepik provinces to reduce crime, which is one of the biggest development challenges faced apart from unreliable and continuous power blackouts. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
The main Kimbe Highway bypass has been restored and normal traffic flow has resumed. However, the road was sealed only after the rains had stopped. The disruption to traffic affected the main market, which was half empty over the weekend.
While Kimbe Town has been restored, work is still being done on the Ivule Bridge. The water level has subsided and an excavator is now being used to drain the river to restore access. Many areas in West New Britain have been badly affected by continuous heavy rains in the province. The New Britain Highway has been cut off since Ivule was washed out during last weekend's flooding. On the night of Friday, 3rd March, and into the early hours of Saturday, a family of 8 residing behind the Culture and Tourism Office watched helplessly as personal belongings were washed out to sea in the torrential rain. The family from Vitu Island had been waiting to travel home after Kimbe seeking medical attention.
Okay, di belakang no prison udah lagi sleep no tok sada si biro. Di belakang no kata kayak punya no sebab job di laut ada poli laut. Kita sih wanita mon. Laut dah and rain come. Rain come and tight roll. So we get around 50 lo send you something on the laut. Tight come and we go. Then we got to know life no. We talking about since talking about it. Udah kalau mati orang santai start go off orang santai.
Road access at Ivule River, which was cut off, has been restored. Cars began crossing at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, 4th March. Thalasia MP Freddie Kumaiwo has written to the Prime Minister seeking assistance. In brief, his letter stated an urgent report of extensive road damage in Thalasia Rural LLG and Kimbe Urban ILG due to recent storms and floods. On Sunday, March 6, Prime Minister James Marape issued a statement saying government is taking stock of the damages caused by the destructive weather and will assist all affected areas across the country, including West New Britain. Carol Kidu Jr., TV1 News.
The provincial government is prioritizing law and order to curb the upsurge in crime by funding major renovation works at the Kimbe police station, costing 1.4 million kina. Of this amount, 200,000 kina is from trust funds and the rest from the PSIP.
The cell block at Kimbe Police Station is still undergoing repairs. Renovation works were carried out by local contractor Rabal Metal Industries.
Yeah, an honor to hand over key for our after major refurbishment and uplift for our Kimbe main station, police station, that with the help of our local contractor RMI, Rabal Metal Industries. They've done an excellent job as we just witnessed. Improving the outlook of the station, a station which before many police had to come and work here, but now it will be one of the station with the entire station is air conditioned, fully tiled, and it's like a modern office space where the police force would like to come and work in Kimbe.
Governor Sasindran Mutavil opened the station last Friday. He also presented a police vehicle to Salelubu Police in central Nakanai. The Kimbe-Biala section of the New Britain Highway is one area experiencing criminal activities such as armed hold-ups and robberies. In response to the demand for increased law and order, the provincial government has prioritized funding for police in West New Britain. Currently, the West New Britain Police have 10 vehicles, some of which are being maintained with the assistance of the Chamber. However, due to an aging fleet and the growing demand for work, the government has paid for various vehicle allocations, including those for the Biala District, Public Prosecutor, Solicitor, among others.
So we are giving priority to police because if we pay now, it takes minimum 12 months before the car arrives. And for some reason, police, you guys are insisting only for this vehicle. So we are also looking for alternate vehicle which can replace this vehicle also, because it takes 12 months of time. So this vehicle is meant for highway patrol, which is also one of the potential area where people have been suffering, with increased hold-up.
However, the government has noticed that the police department insists on only certain types of vehicles, prompting them to explore alternative ways of replacing these vehicles. Carol Kidu Jr., TV1 News.
The Business Coalition for Women, including 85 member organizations, will be celebrating the International Women's Day with others around the country under the theme Digital, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. The coalition since 2014 has been working with similar organizations across multiple sectors, including the IT sector, to help businesses understand the value that their female staff bring to the company. Executive Director of the PNG Business Coalition for Women, Yvonne Kennedy, said that the business value of gender equality in workforces have been well documented, but despite this, lack of gender equality and inclusiveness remain a paramount issue in the IT world. Female underrepresentation affects the well-being of individual organizations and also leads to the shortage of professionals in the entire tech sector. More women led into technology will result in more creative solutions and a greater potential for innovations that meet women's needs, promote gender equality, help reduce unemployment and the overall gender pay gap. The newly appointed Chinese government special envoy for Pacific Countries Affairs, His Excellency Quan Bo, and his team visited Butuka Academy in Port Moresby South. Since the establishment of the school over 4 years ago, the school continues to be maintained. The tour of the school was hosted by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and member for Moresby South, Justin Chachenko, and Governor for NCD, Powers Pakop.
Butuka Academy was privileged to meet the newly appointed Chinese government special envoy for Pacific Countries Affairs, His Excellency Quan Bo, and his team this morning. Since the establishment of the school 4 years ago, the school is being well cared for. The tour of the school was hosted by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and member for Moresby South, Justin Chachenko, and Governor of NCD, Powers Pakop.
Your Excellency Ambassador, we are very privileged to have this school. And we're very happy that the Chinese PNG Friendship School is being looked after well by the board, by NCDC, by Moresby South, and by the whole school board as well, to ensure that this school is maintained, looked after. And we say thank you too to the Chinese government and the Shenzhen for the maintenance of the school with China State. They've been given the contract to maintain the school for the next 20 years.
This is Ambassador Bo's first visit in his new role and stated that Butuka Academy is the best in the Pacific region.
On behalf of the Chinese government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it is a great privilege for me to have a chance to visit this great school, which is a symbol of China-Papua New Guinea friendship. And today, I'm very moved because I was able to see so many smiling faces of the school, and they represent the future of our bilateral relationship. We would very much like to continue to follow the progress made. We will be very much encouraged by any progress made in this specific school. And we will try our best, along with Shenzhen, the city of Shenzhen, to support the education of this school. And certainly more Chinese teachers will be coming. And our ambassador also mentioned to me not only the language teacher, but also maybe teachers on mathematics, etc.
我住在巴黎，大家好，你们好。大老街巴士，大住在 Lisbon。
Butuka Academy students have been learning Mandarin for a year now. Once students complete studies at Butuka Academy, they may have the chance to secure a Chinese government scholarship. Jasmine Eru, TVWAN News.
This is TVWAN News. Among stories after the break, Prime Minister addresses allegations and Pogera workshop.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
It's that time again! Scale Rise is giving you the chance to win some Scale School money for 2023. Over 220 winners, 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scale Rise or Ori Rise to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scale School money. Terms and conditions apply. Scale Rise,
the brain changer.
Open Net.
right across the nation. We eat snacks crackers. Emi trubla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Bulavinaka, I'm Bertrand Jang. It's time to revive what's important. Our stories, our food, our culture, our revolution. Join esteemed Chef Robert Oliver and I in the Revolution Kitchen as our 5 teams embark on this epic journey of global importance.
They're making real change, edible change at a grassroots level. This is what the revolution is all about.
Cooking for pride of country using traditional methods to create some of the finest Pacific cuisine the world has seen.
That is incredible.
The best is all we can give.
I know.
Definitely. We're gonna kick ass.
How are we all feeling today? Which team will rise to the top and claim the supreme title in this Pacific Island food revolution?
Welcome back. As the 49th anniversary of the Hiri Moale Festival drew to a close, the governor of the city took the opportunity to express his gratitude towards past chairmen and members of the Motu Koitabu Assembly, leaders of various Motu Koitabu villages, sponsors, participants, and the people for sustaining the festival for almost 5 decades. At the closure of the event, Miss Tubuseria Kim Josh Damuri was crowned Miss Hiri Hanenamo 2023.
The atmosphere on the third day celebrating the 49th Hiri Moale Festival was a festive one. City residents joined Motu Koitabuans at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium to spectate and support the 8 courageous and beautiful young women vying for the Hiri Hanenamo crown. Well over 5,000 people packed the grandstand to witness a show of culture, tradition and history being celebrated and championed by the young contestants. NCD Governor Powers Pakop commended MKA Chairman and his Deputy NCD Governor, Dari Toka Jr., as well as members of the Motu Koitabu Assembly in continuing the journey despite COVID-19 challenges.
Despite these challenges and difficulties, Chairman Dari Toka Jr. and his team have continued to ensure that we honor and respect the culture and heritage of our people by hosting the festival successfully in the last 3 years.
Member for Hiri Koyari Keith Iduhu said it was an immense privilege and honor to have participated at the Hiri Moale Festival, especially aboard the Kisarabada 5 Lagatoi.
Today is, of course, the final day of the Hiri Moale Festival for the crowning of the Hiri Hanenamo Ageadorai. A tradition that we celebrate an age-old practice of trade and commerce. A tradition that epitomizes and personifies our true culture and our DNA and our essence.
Congratulations were in order. Kim Josh Damuri of Tubusera was crowned 2023 Miss Hiri Hanenamo Queen. Miss Lily Henry of Tatana Village was first runner-up.
This is a dream come true for me, honestly. We are all winners. We are the ambassadors for 2023 till I give the crown over next year.
Governor Paco pledged an additional 300,000 kina to increase NCDC contribution to 800,000 kina for the 50th anniversary festival next year. He urged people to work together to ensure the survival, prosperity and culture of the people, and that it inspires educated young people using the festival as a platform. Carol Kidu Jr., TVWAN News.
Creating the National Office of Child and Family Services is strategic in amplifying the importance of children in the community and the development of the nation. The move to have an independent office from the former Community Development is a clear indication of the government's support to the implementation of the Lukautim Pikinini Act. CEO and Director for National Office of Child and Family Services, Simon Yanis, told media recently that this move is in the right direction to bring hope to children, especially those street children and the marginalized.
Such partnerships will enable visibility for children to attract the government to do more for the children. Secondly, it is timely when the office is embarking on provincial engagement and provincial governors and assemblies committing to work for children. Similar partnerships are in place with Central, NCD and Morobe provinces, whose governors are coming forward to ensure that the children's rights are protected. Yanis also thanked the churches and other CSOs, both national and international, for the great work they do in caring for children. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
The government has provided 3 million kina to cater for surveys to be carried out regarding children on the streets that will lead to licensing out-of-home care. Simon Yanis of the National Office of Child and Welfare Services urged that all funding be released to the office.
There will be a nationwide survey on that, and then also for a proposal for an out-of-home care study. So that is what the government has done. And I also want to tell government now with the media that they have to release all the money. So sometimes the children always does not get the money, and I want the media to tell the government to make sure those monies are released. Because most of the children's monies have not been released.
Prime Minister James Marape has directed the National Intelligence Organization and International Revenue Commission to investigate the allegations of impropriety and corruption published by a foreign media on alleged financial transactions involving former senior managers of PNG ports and an Australian businessman. Marape, in a statement, said he was surprised to read of such allegations.
Prime Minister James Marape, in a statement, says he has no knowledge of the alleged financial transactions or the relationships between former senior management of PNG Ports, the PNG Ports Operator, International Container Terminal Services International, or ICTSI, or Australian businessman Don Matheson, as reported in the Australia's ABC News. The Prime Minister says he was surprised to read the investigative report. A joint investigative report was published on March 2nd by Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Projects, or OCCRP, and Australian Broadcasting Corporation on a Manila-based multinational ports operator, ICTSI, that allegedly transferred funds into Matheson's Singapore company account that then paid packs to senior officials of PNG Ports. The National Intelligence Organization and International Revenue Commission have been tasked to investigate the allegations and ask the publishers of the report to tabulate whatever evidence they may have. The Prime Minister says he is concerned that this report implicates the country's best performing state-owned enterprise. He also confirmed that Minister responsible William Duma has started an internal review on this matter. Freddie Mo, TV1 News.
You're watching TV1 News. When we return, we'll have news from the region.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she.
But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him, Olgeta.
Whatever you need for your building and home improvements, we got you covered. Hardware House. We supply high-quality professional tools, plumbing and electrical supplies, homeware and outdoor products, paints, building materials and much more, all at affordable prices. And with our experienced staff, we will provide you with the right advice and help you need. So for all your building and home improvement needs, Bayuki Simware, Hardware House. Quality at affordable prices.
No matter how hard I try, I always do something wrong.
Instead of thinking of your son, you'd rather get gold earrings made for your niece. Pay off your mother's loan if you really care about your uncle. Repay the favors he's done.
Pooja, they are good people, and they are willing to give you $1 million in advance.
I want you to win somebody's heart, my son.
Timber's just starting to bubble up. Here's the leg. Solid hit.
Welcome back. Since the pandemic, the number of Australian students avoiding school has been increasing, but a school in Geelong has turned its attendance rates around by encouraging students to take small steps to re-engage with learning.
The journey to school and into the classroom has become easier for Josh Bond. But for a long time, the 16-year-old found the social and educational side of school so stressful, his attendance was down to 28%.
See ya. Bye. Very worried. I didn't feel I was going to make it through school.
It was pretty stressful, getting him going every morning, just a constant, 5-day-a-week, battle.
Josh is not alone. A recent report found school attendance rates across the country have dropped since the pandemic.
What we've seen is an increasing number of young people that are feeling too anxious to come to school and, are facing significant barriers to getting to school every day.
Last year, Josh and a small group of students at MacKillop Education in Geelong embarked on a program designed to help them re-engage with school.
Let's get started for the day with our Relate circles. So I'm going to ask you first, Hannah, how are you feeling today?
Tired.
The program is run in partnership with the University of Melbourne and the Royal Children's Hospital.
The one overarching aim is to increase students' attendance, and how you do that is totally up to you.
That means temporarily doing away with the curriculum and designing the day around each student's needs.
It could be they like starting their day with some toast or scrambled eggs, we would start our day doing that. Or they like playing piano, so we would transition into school by doing something that they like.
And this is no ordinary classroom. There's no teacher at the whiteboard or desks facing to the front.
And through here we've got our blue room. So if someone's feeling a bit anxious or tired or they just need some time to themselves, they can come in here and just hang out.
Gradually, the students return to academic work, and by term 4, almost all of the students involved in the program were on a full timetable.
So I think remarkably successful. Then it could absolutely succeed in other schools, and you know, the outcomes for that could be absolutely massive.
A Senate committee has been taking submissions on the growing school attendance challenge. It's heard the pandemic, mental health and bullying via social media are some of the reasons why students are struggling to make it to school. It's also hearing about ways to address the issue.
Thinking about how we can collect data is important. How we can ensure that the workforce is adequately trained and supported to respond to this.
For Josh Bond, re-engaging with school has ignited big dreams for the future.
I'd love to be a theoretical physicist or stuff like that, but I probably see myself doing something more like chemistry-based.
I think that this is a really great tool that a lot of schools could really bring on board for kids that don't learn, you know, the typical way.
An educational journey back on track.
Vanuatu's National Disaster Management Office estimates 251,000 people have been impacted by tropical cyclones Judy and Kevin that hit Vanuatu late last week, causing widespread damage. A national state of emergency was declared on Monday, 6 March in Vanuatu for the next 6 months. The cyclones destroyed buildings and homes across multiple provinces as many remain without power, clean water or telecommunications. Farmers in some provinces have reported total devastation of crops and food shortages are expected in the coming weeks. Vanuatu Prime Minister Ismail Kalsakau said the two cyclones had created a sad state of affairs. Currently, recovery works are underway. Parts of New South Wales have sweltered through their hottest days in over 2 years. Heatwave conditions are fanning to bushfire emergencies in the state's central west, with RFS strike teams from Sydney sent to save homes.
Sunrise swings before a Sydney scorcher on a day when even a wipeout brings welcome relief. As the mercury reached 40 degrees in the west, beachgoers flocked east.
The water's actually really good. It's nice and just cools you down quite a bit.
We're a bit older, so we're trying to drink a lot of water, trying to keep as cool as we can.
Sydney, Wollongong and Newcastle recorded their hottest temperatures in more than 2 years.
I'm burning terribly, and even with sunscreen.
The searing heat prompting 7 total fire bans across the state and extreme fire danger in the central west, triggering the closure of dozens of schools.
We're looking at areas that are very dry, you've got a lot of grass fuel out there, and also the low humidity, high temperature and strong winds.
That fanned an out-of-control fire burning near Hill End, which was elevated to emergency warning level.
That's a Chinook.
Residents of about 50 homes were told to seek shelter.
Sprinklers are on. It's about all we can do. We're packed, we're ready to leave should we have to.
We're not going to get that fire under control, and that fire is going to continue to grow in size, and obviously we're working at trying to keep it away from properties as much as we can.
An emergency warning was also issued for a 700-hectare fire burning south of Dubbo. Around 500 personnel and 27 aircraft are battling more than 30 fires across the state. And the extreme weather will stick around.
Although today was their peak heat day with regards to temperature, tomorrow is going to be the peak heat day with regards to wind.
A testing week awaiting firefighters and communities.
Victims of Crime Commissioner in New South Wales, Australia, want urgent changes to how sex abuse cases are handled to ease the experience of survivors in the justice system. It comes as two survivors raise concerns about their dealings with the Office of Public Prosecutions, saying Crown lawyers didn't consult them before they struck a deal with the abuser to keep him out of jail.
Claire Goss and Anthea Parsons were abused by their music teacher when they were students at St Columba's in Essendon in the 80s.
So this is your Year 12 photo?
Yeah, this is Year 12. They were both assaulted several times as teenagers.
I was lost, totally lost. What am I going to do? Nobody's going to listen to me if I tell them what happened.
As adults, the women went to police, but say over the next few years they were given little information. And the Office of Public Prosecutions wouldn't even answer questions about what charges were being pursued.
Occasionally they would get their social worker to call me
We were being told the bare minimum.
Then last year, the OPP decided to reduce the charges from 13 to 4 if their abuser agreed to plead guilty. The OPP is legally required to consult victims before a plea deal is made.
No, there was no choice. No choice at all. They told us.
I know that they're extremely busy there, and I just had the feeling that it was like, oh, we've just got to get this one over and done with.
The OPP said it had about 10 legal conferences with the women over 2 years, but declined to comment further on those discussions. One of the hardest things for Claire was when the OPP barrister forgot she wanted to read her victim impact statement to the court, words still of vital importance to her.
You used your authority as an adult and as my music teacher to gain trust. And you violated me over and over again. On the school grounds, at your rented residence.
She was only able to read it after getting a hurried message to the barrister.
Well, I was very angry. That was one of the main reasons why I was there, because it's really important for victims to have a chance to say what they want to say.
In the end, their teacher Gregory Oates didn't serve any jail time.
A 2021 report commissioned by the government recommended key changes to how victims are treated in the legal system, including that they are appointed an advocate to fight for their rights throughout the process. The Victims of Crime Commissioner says it's a change that's urgently needed.
They need somebody in their corner, representing their voice, representing their preferences.
The government says it's considering the report.
We have to do something to change the way it's working at the moment, because it isn't working.
The South Australian Liberal Party has ruled out setting enforceable gender quotas, instead opting to adopt targets in its attempt to increase the number of women in state parliament. The Liberals want women to make up 50% of the elected MPs by 2034, but critics say the plan doesn't go far enough.
An election loss almost cleared SA's House of Assembly of Liberal women. Then the Bragg by-election replaced Vicky Chapman with Jack Batty and whittled 3 down to 2. That prompted the party to set up a women's task force, which has now recommended targets, but says the women of the party don't want quotas.
They wanted to be there because they were the ones to do the best job. They wanted to be picked on merit, and they felt that quotas was a really blunt instrument.
The task force has 10 recommendations, which include an aim to have 50% female candidates at the next election, a target of 50% female MPs within 3 terms, a new mentoring and support program to create more pathways for women in the party, and a proactive drive to get more female members.
We don't just have a target, we have a recommendation for the foundation and the framework to achieve that target.
But analysts say that's not so different to previous party endeavours, and there's evidence that quotas work.
I think they are a blunt instrument, but if you have been spectacularly unsuccessful at getting women elected to winnable, pre-selected to winnable seats and winning a seat in the House Assembly, you probably need a blunt instrument.
Touring the construction site of its new technical college in Findon, Labor was hoping to school the opposition in the successful use of quotas.
There is more people in the state parliament with the last name Hood than there are women in the lower house from the Liberal Party. It is an astonishing situation they find themselves in, and I don't think they're serious about changing that equation.
David Spears says he is serious and is taking more action than previous party leaders.
They haven't actually rolled up their sleeves and gotten involved to drag this party into the 21st century. That's what I'm doing.
The task force recommendations will now go to the party executive, but Mr Spears says he's confident they'll endorse him.
Back home, Prime Minister James Marape has given his assurance to Papua LNG developers that the government has given its full support to the project and looks forward to deploying full support in all areas to ensure the project is progressed to final investment decision, construction and first gas as scheduled for late 2027. Part of this commitment to expedite the Papua LNG process is promptness in completing social mapping, conducting landowner studies and expanding opportunities for local businesses to grow.
Speaking during the formal announcement of the Papua Liquefied Natural Gas front-end engineering design phase in Port Moresby on Monday, Prime Minister James Marape says Papua New Guinea is not a new LNG country and have gained from the experiences of PNG LNG on how to deal with landowners and local and provincial governments. He says the PNG government gives full commitment to expedite the process for Papua LNG, part of which is promptness in completing social mapping, conducting landowner studies, and expanding opportunities for local businesses to grow. The Prime Minister clarified that the construction phase of PNG LNG project was at $19 billion that had been injected into the country's economy. The government looks forward to something similar with Papua LNG and expects FID at the end of this year or early next year, followed by the construction. Marape further stated that ExxonMobil has agreed to continue the construction of P'nyang LNG at the back of Papua LNG. This year, consultations will begin with the Gulf Provincial Government and landowners to complete clan wetting, landowner identification and development forum. Freddie Moe, TVWAN News.
And that ends the news segment. Here's the weather report for the next 24 hours. And that ends the news segment. We'll be back with sports news after the break.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Right now, we're facing a man-made disaster of global scale. Our greatest threat in thousands of years, climate change. If we don't take action, the collapse of our civilizations and the extinction of much of the natural world is on the horizon.
It was a groundbreaking ceremony for a new factory.
Did she mention seeing anyone who was sick? Anyone on a plane?
No, she said she was jet lagged.
The average person touches their face 3 to 5 times every waking minute. In between, we're touching doorknobs, water fountains, and each other.
You had a seizure this morning,
Do you have a history of seizures?
No.
Allergies?
Unfortunately, she did die. What are you talking about? What happened to her?
Valentine Holmes for the win. He strikes it. He's got it. He got it. Valentine Holmes.
It's Superman.
Superman.
I love you. This is why I was sent here, to be Superman. Don't lose hope.
New season, Superman and Lois, premieres March 15th, Wednesday on Warner TV.
Tasmania is Australia's smallest state, lying about 240 kilometres south of the mainland. Join me on my journey through this beautiful island state as I experience the produce, people and culture that makes this an unforgettable island.
Welcome back. In sports, PNG Orchids reject Joanne Laguna showed class today when she led the Varavara United girls to a 12-4 victory over Sub-City Raiders in Day 2 of the JT9's women's competition at the Mosby Southside Stadium. Laguna, who was sacked from the national women's team before the 2022 Rugby League World Cup, again showed her speed and elusiveness throughout the contest. The Varavara United girls got off to a flyer today at the Mosby Southside Stadium, keeping their opponents scoreless until the dying minutes of the contest. The main driver, of course, was none other than Orchids reject the elusive Joanne Laguna, who is back in the country after her misdemeanor. With her lightning speed and elusive footwork, Joanne was at her damaging best, toying around with her opponents, scoring tries at will. While keeping a cool head after all the negative adversities, Joanne single-handedly got Varavara girls home today. She said it's good to be back playing footy again with the girls.
It was been quite a long time, but for me coming here, it's like a game that I always dream about and playing it. So yeah, back here we played, we just worked on our defensive. That's the part of the whole plan of the game. So in our defensive, I believe that we are going to win games. Without defensive, we can't win games.
Joanne said though she did not play to her full potential, her main role today was just to organize and provide direction on the field.
It was taking a lead in that to encourage them and teach them, what nine is all about. And in the future, they'll be coming up when they play rugby league. So that's to play alone against them is to give them more supportive and motivate them in their coming games.
Regarding all the hype and talk about her linking up with the Brisbane Broncos women's team, Joanne said the story was blown out of context, though the club expressed interest in securing her services. Other than that, there's also expression of interest from other clubs, but she couldn't elaborate further.
Broncos one, it wasn't a real story, but there were some clubs down there interested, so I was there, but for that I won't go further about it because it's in a process, so I can't continue on that, but I'm still still playing and still looking forward to that dream and of playing overseas. Yeah.
Clubs fielding overage players in this year's JT9's Under-20 division have been reminded to play fair and exercise some honesty. Tournament Director Bagala Solian raised this concern again today after some players who were well over the age of 20 were removed from the field. While tournament rules and guidelines are clear and are there for teams to abide by, certain clubs have continued to be ignorant by fielding overage players in their under-20 teams, frustrating match officials, the tournament committee and clubs alike. JT9's tournament director Bagalo Solian again expressed disbelief that certain clubs could see fit to cheat rather than win games in a fair and honest manner and within the tournament rules. Frustrations escalated today to a near confrontation in day 2 of the under-20 match between Koki Eels and Six Tigers when 2 players were forced off the field.
So day 2 today, this I think we are in game 8 now. We've removed about 26 players so far this morning on the field. Most of these players are 22 years old, 21-year-old players. They're over 20, so we're not allowing them to play. Our tournament manager and judiciary chairman physically checking all players before they take the field and advising teams for players who are suspected to be over 20 to at least show some form of ID to prove the age. If they can't give us that ID to prove the ages, then we're asking them kindly not to take the field.
Solian said although majority of the clubs have been honest, a few were doing this, bringing the game into disrepute. The director said after the under-20 and women's round-robin games on Wednesday, the top 16 teams for each division will move on to the quarter and semi-finals on Thursday. Meanwhile, the senior men's competition has been further delayed by a week due to the weather situation and has been rescheduled for next week, culminating in the grand finals next Sunday.
The games are back on. Hopefully the weather is going to be kind to us over the next 2 weeks so we can resume where we left off. So please, if you do nothing at home during the week, on the weekends, feel free to come down to our stadium and enjoy some rugby football games here.
Isaiah Katoa was one of 2 young Dolphins blooded by Wayne Bennett to help launch the club's inaugural season, and he received a rugby league education, his winning NRL debut, as well as being crunched in a tackle by Roosters superstar Joseph Suwali, where he struggled to get back to his feet and making a critical error which directly led to a try. Isaiah Katoa bounced back each time and played a key hand in the victory, setting up points with his passing and his running game. At the post-match interview, Katoa said it was incredible and an amazing atmosphere.
That was great. It was great to get a run, very hot, but awesome, to do it, for the first game for our club. It's pretty special. And obviously getting my debut and getting the win, it makes it even more special, so what an occasion it was.
He gave full credit to the boys who turned up, adding they were confident that they would do a job and were very fortunate to come away with the win. Even the fans turned up to cheer the team on was unreal.
Sure, man, I'm never going to forget this. I'm soaking it up, living in the moment, and I've loved every minute of today, mate. It's been awesome, the lead up to it, the week of training, and then also the win today just makes it a bit sweeter.
Katoa admitted describing himself as an instinctive player who likes to play eyes-up footy, act on the go. Katoa said he had the confidence to do just that on the field, thanks not only to his house partner Sean O'Sullivan being the more dominant player in the duo, but also due to work he's been doing in the pre-season on his mental preparations, including with performance psychologist Dr. Phil Jounsey. Since his signing last year from the Panthers, where he also bypassed the development contract stage and was fast-tracked into the club's top 30 despite barely turning 18. Katoa has attracted headlines with calls for him to make his debut growing louder following his Rugby League World Cup performance with Tonga. The Dolphins will head back to Kayo Stadium on Saturday to host the Canberra Raiders in round 2. And that's the sports segment for now. Back to you, Mary.
Thank you, Terry. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
Bye.
News.